Forget absolutely everything you've been told about becoming a high-value man, because most of it is outdated and designed to sell you something. The reality is most successful men aren't following a secret set of rules, they're simply following different principles and different daily habits than you are. In this video, I'm going to show you 6 of the most common traits that universally high-value, successful men all have in common. These traits aren't based on money, who you date, where you live. These are universally common. Anybody that is watching this video, no matter where you live in the world, could adopt this today and absolutely change the way you're viewed by the world. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to show you the #1 highest ROI trait that, if adopted today, would create a domino effect into every single other area of your life, so make sure you stick around for that. #1, the most common trait that I have noticed with high-value guys that I've seen within my network is simply putting themselves first. That doesn't mean not looking after the people around you. It doesn't mean not staying strong and being emotionally grounded for the people around you. What I simply mean by that is not adhering to other people's will, doing what you want before anybody else's, because that is, in the first place, how you're going to make it in business. You know, if your girlfriend wants to go out and have fun, but you got to go to the gym that night, I mean, you got to weigh your options up. But if you're constantly adhering to somebody else's will, you're not going to be making much progress. So being a bit selfish sometimes, unapologetically, is often a very good thing. We also have frankness, being frank, being unapologetic, being very direct. You know, making it known if you're upset about something, if you want to do something, or if you disagree with something. Being a leader in that situation, not being a dick about it, but if everybody wants to do one thing and you want to do something else, you should make it known, because somebody else in the group could be thinking the exact same thing. And if you're just following around like a sheep and agreeing to what the last person said, you're not going to be very respected. It's going to come across that you're a bit more of a follower, not a leader. And you know, that's not to say sometimes you can't sort of take a step back and do what other people want to do. But if you're not happy about something, being direct, being frank is a very high value trait, in my opinion. Then we have emotional maturity. This is the #1 thing, in my opinion. You know, if you're a young guy that lives with your family, and I mean, I remember living with my mum, we used to have like arguments about where I used to leave the protein powder, for example. So in those situations, oftentimes I would get angry and I'd lash out. You know, that's happened a lot during my sort of teenage years. But the minute I sort of took a step back and started to breathe and just think, okay, she might be having a bad day, and this is really coming to my dating life recently. So take a step back, have a breathe. Don't let anyone disrespect you by any means, but sometimes biting your lip and just go, okay, I don't really care. Like, I'll deal with the situation. Like, especially if somebody else is having a bad day and they sort of put it on you, it doesn't mean they don't care about you. But oftentimes being the strong, masculine man means you got to deal with that situation. You need to be the emotional rock in that situation. And that is a very high value trait. Vulnerability. This is what the red pill space gets very wrong. You know, you do not need to put a persona on. You need to be unapologetically yourself. For example, I like playing piano, I like studying history. I mean, like, if I wouldn't even dream about saying that stuff in school. Like, although I was very much into my music and sort of history back then, like back in school, I would feel like everyone would find that very weird. They probably would have done. But now, me admitting that and me not giving a fuck, I quite enjoy that. Like, even if people find that's a bit weird, like, not many people in our area are sort of into that stuff. I find that quite good, and I think that's what makes me very likable. So, and another example is, I used to really find it difficult to say, okay mate, you're right, or I find it hard, if I was in the wrong for something, you know, people fuck up sometimes. I find it very hard to apologise, and I would just argue. Often the masculine thing is being vulnerable. I don't care if I apologise, and I don't care what people think. Like, if I'm in the wrong, I'm going to apologise for it. I don't care. Like, often when people sense that energy that you don't care and you're happy being vulnerable and unapologetically yourself, that is a very masculine thing that's very respected. We also have self-pride. A lot of you guys are just walking willy-nilly to the shops in your gym clothes, or going out to meet the boys in your gym clothes. Like, a lot of you boys don't trim your fingernails, don't do your hair. You don't really take pride in the way you look. Let me tell you something that I want you to remember for the rest of your life. Your clothes, the way you look, are not for you. It's a sign of respect for the people around you. So even if you're leaving your house to see your family, at least throw a polo shirt on and look good, do your hair. At least shower, boys, come on. Have a bit of self-pride about you. I've been in many networking groups, and a lot of the people that I try and directly talk to in this channel are people in these groups. Like, where we've gone for trips and people haven't washed up after themselves. There's no self-pride in this community. So if you're like one of these self-improvement guys and you don't really see the need to dress well and you only really wear gym clothes because you're trying to optimize your health, which I understand, but guys, come on, if you're not going to the gym, put some nice clothes on if you're going out. You know, you wonder why you haven't got a good social life and why you haven't got any mates in your life, or like partners, people you're dating. It's because you don't really care about this stuff. You know, would you really go and show up to a date, a nice restaurant, in some gym clothes? No, you wouldn't. So dress nicely and you'll notice how girls treat you differently. You know, you might notice that conversations day to day seem very short, and like they just perish very quickly. As much as you want to have a nice long conversation, when you start dressing differently, you look differently, people respect you a lot more. And finally, successful guys, I've noticed they're all driven. They have discipline, that's how they got there, but you'll notice nobody becomes who they want to be in life from discipline alone. They all have a pull factor. For me, you know, I feel like I found that, and that is real estate. I just love property. I get up every day and I just love that hustle. I love driving to appointments, networking every single day. I just find it fascinating speaking to different people. And this is something I technically have fallen into, but at the same time, having a pull factor, like, this is definitely something that I've pretty much been destined to do. Like, source deals like this, you know, find new business opportunities. It's such an enjoyable thing for me. So that whole high ROI trait is having that pull factor. So you boys need to find that. You need to make that your purpose right now, to try and find that pull factor. A lot of guys say you don't really need to enjoy what you do, which I somewhat agree with. You know, part of my whole long time success plan is buying up small businesses that are very profitable and just getting new systems on board and new staff to run it for me. But at the same time, you need to really find love for the entire mission. That's what you boys need to do. I'd love to make another video on that because it's easier said than done, but there's 6 traits for you boys, and, you know, take them on as you will, but they're very important, you know, especially being unapologetic. It's all about just at heart being yourself, boys, and just taking pride, putting yourself on the pedestal rather than others. It's not to say don't look after the people around you, quite the opposite, in fact. You can look after people a lot better if you're happy, if you're well motivated, if you're in good health. So find the things that will provide you with that, make you happy, that will keep you in good health, keep you financially stable, and put those things above all else, and everybody else in your life will be rewarded for it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or in the comments. Leave a subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to the next one.